about that, guys. Evidently, our feed was interrupted, which hasn't happened to me in almost 2.5 years of Ask a Painter. We got great coverage here, so hopefully it's just a glitch with the internet. But so this is the episode 170. This is part two, a continuation of what we talked about. In the previous episode, we talked about the Purdy Nest system, which Ryan and I did a little painting, and we were just about to bring Chris Shank on when the feed interrupted. So I see Chris Shank again. Let's see if we can keep this conversation break between topics. But I sincerely apologize for the break in the feed on YouTube when this is archived. They will be spliced together into one episode. So, Chris Shank. You hear us? Bump in a little more here. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
we made it.
I was just saying.
Sorry.
2.5 years it's been since I had a feed interrupted on Ask a Painter, and I think you did it. You did it.
I probably did break it. I break a lot of stuff.
Dude, so how are you?
All right, Nick. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad we made this work. I was actually moving from place to place, so it might have been partly my fault, but I think we got a good place right now. It's a blank wall for now. We're trying to fix that, but that's what it is for today. I've got my strong coffee. Well, it's
won't hold it against you.
Decaf tea, but I think you like the cup. This is my favorite mug here. But yes, I love the show. I love what you guys are doing there. Good painting. Hi, Ryan. Great job. And okay, so you guys, I would be interested to hear, Nick, you answer this question, but Ryan, I'm curious about your perspective as well. The question of the week from PCA is, what do you guys do about vacation for your employees? And we've talked about vacation for yourself, but what kind of vacation do you give your employees? What kind of limits do you put on that? How do you maximize that benefit for your employees without being taken advantage of?
So
give me something
I have
here.
A answer to that raises a lot of people's eyebrows, but we're going to let Ryan go first because I am a very wordy loudmouth, and I want Ryan a chance to weigh in.
So,
me too.
We decided earlier this summer, the policy we came up with, this was probably 4 months ago when we had a team of 3 or 4 people, was once you've gone through our 90-day probationary period, we would give people unlimited days off, as long as they were requested in a respectful time frame, and as long as that wasn't abused. So we felt like that was, and this was probably, I don't know if it was inspired by anyone specific, but I think between other people in the industry and peers, people who are doing maybe similar things, we thought it was a benefit that we could add, since we can't do things like a retirement plan or health insurance. We thought that was one way we could add value, is say, hey, if you're with us and it's a good fit, take as many days off as you want, as long as it's a respectful amount and you're not out 2 weeks a month or anything like that.
So if you say that around another group of painting contractors, business owners, Ryan, you know what they're going to say. How does that ever work? Why does anybody ever show up? What do you say?
Be like,
well, they need to show up to make money for one, so there's that motivation.
That would be called an incentive.
That's an incentive. So unless they want to support their lifestyle and needs, they have to show up at least a certain amount of time. That's what we were doing, and still will continue to do that as we grow.
So interestingly enough, I do the same thing. Ryan and I are simpatico on this stuff where, we've both been in rooms together where it's like, hey, Nick, what do you offer as benefits? I'm like, well, my people can take off whenever they want for as long as they want. And obviously, Chris, you've probably been in these rooms where guys are like flipping over tables and like, how does that even work? It's like, what? You're still, and the reason it works is because Ryan and I both, we take care of a lot of issues on the front end of getting people into our businesses. So we look for those decent human beings. We're looking for the good people that fit our core values. And magically, nobody abuses a lot of our policies when you do that. So really, again, we have incentives for these people. A lot of our people are young relatively. So you would think they would just take off for everything they want. But when you leave it up to them, I think my people take less vacation time than people with a standard vacation policy magically, because they're so decent. They just work.
Wow.
And if something comes up, they ask for a day off for a family reunion, then they get back to work. So
I'll agree with you. That's pretty decent. They are some really nice, decent human beings. But let me ask you this, okay? Because I had a podcast yesterday, actually recorded it. It probably won't be out for a month or so. Eric Barstow of Painting Business Pro, I think it is. And he has a subcontractor model, but for his staff, his full-time staff, marketing and finances or whatever, he does that same policy and he's defending it as well. I'm seeing a growing contingent that is able to say, hey, look, this is what the studies are telling us. This is what we're responding to. And it's strategic. It's scientific. It just is counterintuitive. Because it does seem extremely, and scary. There's a good point.
What corporate America in 1988 would have you believe is a good policy is you have to work for this amount of time, and then you're allowed this many days off unpaid, and then you work for some more time, and then you get paid, and it's all nice and defined. But as you've listened to Art Snarzik give his presentation on millennials value their time outside of what they do for a job the same, or if not more than what they do for that job. So you have to respect that that's a big thing for them. And if you just give them the opportunity, or if they at least know that that's there, sometimes that's comfort enough for them to take that job and do it. And they don't necessarily want to take all the vacation, but knowing it's there when they want it is very valuable.
So have you guys ever worked for a company like that?
I've never had a real
that
job.
You had that kind of time?
I know. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
No, I came from the corporate world before this, so no.
Oh, you've been out in the real world.
Yeah.
I haven't either. I think that's part of the scary thing too, because it's some new stuff that a lot, like you said, corporate America wouldn't necessarily endorse. I don't know exactly what's coming out of Harvard Business School, but I know that, I read Harvard Business Review, and they're starting to say flex time. Guys, work with the flex time. This is a huge boon. If you take advantage of it, it's like a huge asset to you, and it gives you negotiation opportunities and everything. Why aren't you doing this? But I think you almost need a small business to be able to take chances with it, because when you have and a lot of businesses do, even painting businesses can have millions of dollars on the line taking risks like that, and it gets scarier and scarier. But I think maybe when you're smaller, it's still everything you got though. It's still the business, no matter how large you are, whether you're 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, no matter how, it's all you got. So it's a risk no matter what. But I don't see it happening on the further edge of larger businesses and corporations. I see it happening kind of where you guys are at in our industry a little bit more. So maybe that's it. But I want to see more of that. I think what you said about decent human beings is about building work culture that supports that kind of incentive. And I think that's everything. So I guess the real question would be, okay, that's kind of a neat strategy, but now how do you build the work culture that finds the right people that won't take advantage? And now you have a system to know what to do when people do take advantage, right? Would you say that's part of the key?
We've all been in the rooms talking about the common things that paint business owners run into, but and they always talk about, guys not showing up on time, being late, calling in sick too much, 3 flat tires in a week, this and that, cigarette policies, cell phone policies. Right. If you start from the front end and get good people in, it's that old computer thing. I sound like an old guy now, computer thing. It's that old coding thing, garbage in, garbage out. If you load your business up with garbage is what you will get in the end. If you take the time to load it up with good stuff right away, magically, Ryan and I, we don't deal with a lot of cigarette issues, cell phone issues, showing up late, cars never working, asking for excessive time off. It's that's the standard of what we get. Now, that comes with some other things, which this person is a very high caliber person, and they're interested in things outside the business, and we need to be respectful of that. So, it's as simple as that.
Right. Okay. Hey, this is a good time to say, Modern Apprenticeship is your master's course that you delivered at Expo last year, part 1. Part 2 is coming I probably should say duh. It's coming. It's coming up in this coming expo. And so you kind of talked about building the culture that will attract the right people. And now you're going to be talking about getting the right production and the numbers out of everybody and kind of tightening things up to where you have the systems now that are producing those numbers you want to see now that you got the right people. And is that correct?
Ryan Turry is the first person ever to see the data from my reformation that I did this year. So he got the sneak peek at what's to come with all this stuff. And it's basically, you and I are trying to figure out a tagline for this thing, but it's basically, you know, the last time I spoke to everybody at Expo, it's like, just get decent human beings. They're all out there. There's piles of people out there waiting for you to get them, but it takes effort. And this one is the continuation is, okay, now you've filled your business with these people. What the hell do you do with them to actually make money with them? And I actually have data to support exactly what to do.
Can't wait.
Hey Ryan, since you know what it's all about, is it any good?
You locked me in a room and I had to do all sorts of stuff to see it.
He signed an NDA. You know, there's certain things redacted. He actually had a blindfold on to come out to this farm. He still doesn't know where he is.
Yeah,
so.
I got a wristband on this.
He has a little.
Well, I know.
I am tracking him.
I know you get a lot of. I know that you do get good feedback from contractors. I know you work with Art Snarzik. So the thing is, you're getting industry perspective, and that's building into a lot of your plans. And so that's pretty neat too. I think people can be confident that this is well tested, tried, and has input. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see it, man.
Ryan, because you know, dudes like that poke holes in it real quick. They're like, that doesn't make sense, or what about this? And immediately you realize if your data is strong or not. And so it's a good thing.
It's good.
Oh,
I'm glad I don't have to do it.
You're going to be the
somebody
final
else to
arbiter
poke
of this thing.
holes
So
in
I'm
your...
going to pass it through a lot of guys' filters, and you're the last guy. Once it's polished, it's got to go through you, and you, the deep level knowledge bomb dropping Chris Shank, have the final say in this. And I might be completely deluded.
Yeah.
So
whatever. We'll see.
Did we cover the topic well enough, Chris Shank?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, because wow, I wonder if people are going to be having questions, and they should type those in, because this is a new wave of business management and you are putting it truly to the test. So people, get your questions out there. Even when the video ends and you're watching this later, type in your question. Don't let Nick get away with this, or Ryan.
You need to call him out on that stuff. No, but one quick data point is I actually have a salaried position. Holly, my client concierge / production manager. And basically what my company works on a 4-day work week now. So again, you can, if you don't have a strong vacation policy, how about you say you get a 3-day vacation every week? You don't have to go by this traditional sort of corporate. You get, you work for 6 months and then you get 2 days off, and you got to put in 2 weeks beforehand. It's like, or you can just work 4 days a week and have a 3-day weekend every weekend. And to me, when I lay this stuff out on paper, that is way more valuable to people our age than 2 days in the future after 6. You know what I mean? So, but with Holly, Holly is a salaried person. She works from home most of the time. And I basically, something Ryan and I were talking about, having deliverables and descriptions, job descriptions before you bring people on, because in Holly's job description, I based her salary off of 2,000 hours a year, which is basically 50 weeks. There's 52 weeks in a year. I just said, listen, I expect 50 weeks of work out of you for this salary. And she's very good about, she's putting in way more time than she has to, because she passed the decent human being test. So there's no question in my mind that she will probably work 54 weeks this year based on the amount of time she's putting in. So
I believe it. Well done. People, turn in your questions and really pick this apart, not in a bad way, but a good way. Find out how it's done, because that's what people want to know, not just the why that it can be done, but how, because you are doing it. So Eric, I really encourage people to put in those questions.
How do I get a Nick Slavik mug? You must wrestle it out of the hands of Chris Shank to get it. So good luck to you. You see the arms on that guy.
You want some good tea to go with the.
It's awesome.
I don't know why the tea thing. It's just
awesome.
It's just today.
So
I don't know. It becomes a thing.
We have Chris Shank on here. You are not getting away without dropping something of intellect on us before you leave. The tea bag is not going to do it enough. We need something from you, Chris Shank.
Okay. All right. I read last night, just last night, this in. No, I think it kind of ties in with this, because if you're going to be doing that to me, then I'm certainly going to be preparing something that ties in with our subject. And I think Drecker is the author's name. He was talking about effective people in leadership and management.
I only thought you read
executive
esoteric Japanese poetry.
I do that too. But what he was saying was, to be effective in a business, you have to be effective as a person. So it starts here. We all know that. And he says a lot of effectiveness is truly counterintuitive. It used to be you thought you were an effective leader when everybody else thought you were. But now that everybody's getting socially connected, there's more accountability, and people know when you're being effective or not, because the results come out sooner. So he says, from all of his studies and his consultations and everything, that with all the people he's met with and talked to, most people in leadership, it takes a lot of practice to become effective. Effectiveness is not natural and never comes naturally. You have to know what to do, and you have to practice it continually. So I want to say, like, let's take this example of the vacations and work hours and everything like that. It's not going to be easy. If you're just like going to say, hey, I'm going to institute that in my company, and then immediately things will get better, and then I'll have decent human beings and whatever. No, there's a system. Follow the system. That's part of what you laid out in Modern Apprenticeship. It's part of what you're going to help people with this next thing at Expo. And then keep at it. Keep going. Try and try and try again. Effectiveness is practiced and learned. It does not come natural. And that's with every high caliber leader, manager, owner.
Uh-oh. Chris paused for a second. Oh, there we go.
Guy had ever worked with.
That's so good.
I thought that was very comforting to me. And I think it'd be comforting to other owners to hear that. Can you hear that?
It's awesome perspective, and something we talked about today too, which is sometimes just knowing something and knowing it's true for a lot of other people too, calibrates you, and then you can understand your place in all this better. So, yeah, it's a wonderful thing, man. All right,
yeah.
Is that it? That's all you got? Keep dunking that tea bag.
That's all I got. I just got some tea dipping.
I was just gonna say I don't see how there's any negative outcome to the whole benefits, like giving people unlimited time off, because there's still expectations to follow with that. It's not like you can just wake up and not come to work,
right,
and not tell anybody.
Yep.
So it's
right.
I just don't see it as.
I think it's knowing how to build those and prepare for those that people just don't know because they're not there. They haven't done it. But I think it's when you get there and hearing from people like you, here's the type of expectations, here's the way you communicate it, here's your fail-proof kind of stuff. I think it gives people the security maybe to walk forward with it. But I'm telling you, it's a scary thing. Nick said it, very scary. So people are watching guys like you to see how you do it.
This first principle reasoning thing, which is something that Ryan and I basically spent the whole morning talking about, which is I don't have any corporate experience. This is not a corporation, and none of the people who work for me have ever had a real corporate job. So we have no base of knowledge of the 2 weeks of paid time off a year, and it's like, so obviously there's a lot of us smaller businesses that are scrappy, and we can't offer full retirement, education, paid time off, 401k. We just can't do this effectively right now. So in lieu of that, we do scrappy stuff like that. And right now for these people, I think it's more effective.
Cool. Yeah. I think it's neat, guys. I definitely want to see that play out in our industry more.
Is that it now? All right, man.
That's all I got. I could
just
give my tea bag one more time.
And then we're out of here.
All right, guys. Hey, have a good one. Thanks a lot, Nick Slavik and Ryan Turry.
This is a crazy life. We're sitting here talking to Chris Shank. Ryan's here. We got Garrett Martell showing up at the farm this afternoon. We're going to be shooting guns, having a good time. And
sweet.
What a life, huh?
Have fun, guys. Thanks for being on this and bringing me on.
Okay, so we got a couple questions here. Farah, which is your preferred brush from Purdy? So many options. Do you have a favorite? I can rattle through.
I like the I think it's the Elite. That's
yes.
The stiffer the better for me. So.
You said it the best. couple weeks ago, I was actually featuring the Chinex Elite and with the kind of tan brushes, and I showed this exact situation, which was old bombed out barns, rough woodwork, historic woodwork, and stucco brick block.
Yeah.
The stiffer that's the stiffest bristle I can find.
Yes.
Yeah. It's perfect for this stuff because even some of the better offerings like Pro Extra, they're beautiful and delicate. We just need a little more like
Yeah, I keep trying to go the other. I don't know. That's just my opinion. That's my
for this
experience.
nothing better than like the Chinex Elite. I will tell you this, that for people who know me know that I love simplicity more than anything else. So I attempt to have a two brush company. We throw in things like Chinex Elite for the times we do this, which is maybe 10 to 20% of our work. But for 80 to 90% of our work, we use Pro Extras, and my two favorites are the 3-inch Swan. So it's got the beaver tail. It's got the thick version of a 3-inch, because they make the 3 inches that are a little thinner. Huge capacity. These are the blue bristle brushes for people who don't know. The Pro Extra Swan 3-inch version, straight cut, beaver tail, super thick. That's our go-to siding brushes and anything outside. And then we have Pro Extra Elascos, which are one of my favorite brushes ever created. They have long, skinny handle, 2.5 version, straight cut, again, the super thick version versus the skinnier version. And we use that for all interior painting and exterior trim.
Is that 2.5?
2.5. It's just,
Angled sash?
Or straight. I'm a straight guy.
You're straight, yeah.
Are you an angled guy?
I am, because that's just what I started
this is
with.
over.
That's what I started
we're done.
with.
We're done here. I thought I knew you, Ryan.
I'm out.
No, and I started with straight 37 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's
You're not going back.
Yeah, exactly. So I learned in a certain way, but I would say there are just beautiful little brushes that do all sorts of crazy specific things. But honestly, if I could take one brush, that Pro Extra 2.5 straight with the long handle so you can reach things, it does it perfectly, and it goes forever. And they wash out well, and and then you mix in things like Chinex Elites and things like that for that. So, and another sneaky one that we use too, hand finishing enamels, is the I keep wanting to say Elasco. It's Nylox.
Yeah.
The Nylox.
They're really soft.
The beautiful. It's again beaver tail, 2.5-inch straight cut. Those bristles are like fine human hair, and they're stiff enough to get enamel on, but soft where you tip it off and it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So those Nylox too, that's for, the other 5% of the time where we're hand finishing a steel door, interior enameling, things like that. So, Alex St. Germain, one of my high-speed apprentices. Marcelo, tell me more about the 9-inch Nest tray system. How does it work with the dual bucket? Oh yeah, here, I'll show you once more here. So I will take my phone out for this one because we have it full of paint. So basically, we have, the big bucket right here. And what you can do is, if we had a different project here, like say we're rolling the block here with this paint, and we want to switch over and roll something on this wood door here, all you do is you take your 9-inch tray like this, and you set that sucker right on the top there. So you can keep your paint in here, and you can still have your 9-inch up top. You can put another paint, another finish, another different kind of primer up here, and use that separately. So it's super handy. You can just kind of interchange it all, and it's a pretty nice system. All right, let's go back up here. Let's see what else we have. Thanks everybody for watching here too. So, Monty Byers, thanks a lot, man. I will be getting my mugs. When somebody met, I get they breed requests. So here's the problem with my mugs. I get them handmade by this awesome artist down in New Ulm, Minnesota, which is my second hometown. I was actually just there on a restoration project, and I basically get one a week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I put in a perpetual order of 50 of those mugs, and it takes 1 year for me to get my order of 50. So I'm waiting my year period right now to get my next order of 50. So thank you everybody for being patient. When I get a huge shipment, I'll probably put the word out and ship some out to people, or if I see you at events, we'll do it. But thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry. I get them one shipment a year at 50 of them. So. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I do appreciate it. All right, Ryan, that's about it for us. We did some painting. We did some talking. we did some shooting. We're going to do some shooting again. And this is going to be a fun day. So
thanks for having me on.
Thank you for driving all the way down here doing this. And yeah, everybody loves the Turries. I'm sad your wife couldn't be here too because she's the brains of the operation.
Yeah,
so she's always good to talk to too. So awesome. So thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for the Turries for being involved with this. Friends of the show, friends of mine personally. Awesome to know people like this. And this is the reason when people say like, hey, why do you join the PDCA or the PCA and all this and that? It's like, the organization is good. The people are better.
Yeah.
And we basically know each other from social media and organizations like that, and it's a wonderful thing. So when people say, why do you join? We've met Chris Shank before in person.
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy
Yeah.
through the PCA.
Amazing community.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And yeah, lots of perspective there. So thanks everybody for watching. Have a good weekend. Thank you for Purdy for allowing this opportunity, and Sherwin-Williams as well. And we will piece these 2 episodes together in its final cut for YouTube. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good weekend.